Warning. This game was made for Ludum Dare 33 and therefore contains content that was put together in an intoxicated, sleep-deprived state. What is about to come may be inappropriate for young children or big babies.
Warning, he did well. Thank you for making sure of that. Now, I need to check to make sure my license says I am not a baby. Type the red letters as they appear on the screen. Love.
Lovers sat on a park bench with their bodies touching each other, holding hands in the moonlight.
Aww.
Silence between them, so profound was their love for each other, they needed no words to express it.
Aww. That does nothing.
And so they sat in silence on a park bench with their bodies touching, holding hands in the moonlight.
Well, that's interesting. That the sentence reveals itself as you type in.
Finally she spoke. Do you love me, John? She asked.
Yeah.
You know I love you, darling, he replied. I love you.
SP.
I can't tell.
Speech.
You are the light of my life, my sun, moon, and stars.
Oh, whoops. I'm not typing at the right time here. I'm trying to question what the point of all this, boxes moving are.
Without you I have no reason for being.
The blue guy.
Dave looked onwards with pure hatred. Who the hell did this John think he was? Dave couldn't shake the feeling that things had taken a significant turn for the worse.
For the worse. Very positive.
Again there was silence as the two lovers sat on a park bench, their bodies touching, holding hands in the moonlight.
Oh.
Once more she spoke. How much do you love me, John? She asked.
The robot voices is hilarious.
He answered, how much do I love you? Count the stars in the sky.
1.
Measure the waters of the oceans with a teaspoon. Number the grains of sand on the seashore. Impossible, you say. Yes, and it is just as impossible for me to say how much I love you.
Is that supposed to be romantic? Because that's a really bizarre way.
For you is higher than the heavens, deeper than Hades, and broader than the earth. It has no limits, no bounds. Everything must have an ending except my love for you.
E.
More silence.
And V.
Two lovers sat on a park bench with their bodies touching, holding hands in the moonlight.
Is this sentence going to be repeated over and over again?
Once more her voice was heard. Kiss me, John, she implored.
This robot voice is hilarious.
He pressed his lips warmly to hers in fervent osculation. You have reached the end of the game having killed nothing. Means A, you were confused by the complexity of this game, or B, you understand how to play this game entirely. I'd stick with a thrower. Of the three endings, this is perhaps the best.
Alright.
Two lovers sat on a park bench with their bodies touching each other, holding hands in the moonlight. There was silence between them, so profound was their love for each other, they needed no words to express it.
But they used words to express it anyways.
With their bodies touching, holding hands in the moonlight. Finally she spoke. Do you love me, John? She asked.
So now I know what they meant by shooting is random.
You know I love you, darling, he replied. I love you more than tongue can tell. You are the light of my life, my sun, moon, and stars.
And stars.
You are my everything. Without you I have no reason. Rat, you killed your ex. Luke Sleek, it's game over. Two lovers sat on a park bench with their bodies touching each other, holding hands in the moonlight. There was silence between them, so profound was their love for each other, they needed no words to express it. And so they sat in silence on a park bench with their bodies touching, holding hands in the moonlight.
I feel like this was an idea for a bigger game, but I do find it absolutely amusing for what it is right now. I am not entirely sure it works as a narrative game.
I love you more than tongue can tell. You are the light of my life, my sun, moon, and stars. You are my everything. Without you I have no reason for being. Dave looked onwards with pure hatred. Who the hell did this John think he was? Dave couldn't shake the feeling that things had taken a significant turn for the worse. Again there was silence as the two lovers sat on a park bench, their bodies touching, holding hands in the moonlight. Once more she spoke. How much do you love me, John? She asked.
I do like the typing is actually coming from a perspective of, not John, but Dave, the ex.
He answered, how much do I love you? Count the stars in the sky.
And it's actually really... It's almost sad in some ways.
Rat, you killed your ex.
Alright, I'm trying my best to kill John in this case.
Lovers sat on a park bench with their bodies touching each other, holding hands in the moon.
Yeah, it feels like you're typing and controlling from the perspective of Dave, which is kind of interesting.
Their love for each other, they needed no words to express it. And so they sat in silence on a park bench with their bodies touching, holding hands in the moonlight. Finally she spoke. Do you love me, John? She asked. You know I love you, darling, he replied. I love you more than tongue can tell. You are the light of my life, my sun, moon, and stars. You are my everything. Without you I have no reason for being.
Oh no. How do I,
Dave looked onwards with pure hatred. Who the hell did this John think he was?
There we go. Alright, that works better. Nope. Nope, that didn't quite work. Nope, that didn't quite work as planned. Alright, this should work as planned. That did not work as planned. Nope, that did not work as planned. Oh goodness, what have I done? No! No! Alright, I need to see this third ending. Regardless.
Sat on a park bench with their bodies touching each other, holding hands in the moonlight.
The point system is so pointless. Pun intended.
For each other, they needed no words to express it. And so they sat in silence on a park bench with their bodies touching, holding hands in the moonlight. Finally she spoke. Do you love me, John? She asked. You know I love you, darling, he replied. I love you more than tongue can tell. You are the light of my life, my sun, moon, and stars. You are my everything. Without you I have no reason for being.
Oh no, what have I done?
Dave looked onwards with pure hatred. Who the hell did this John think he was? Crap. You
No! I can't do it! I can't do it! Oh, it's too repetitive at this point. I can't. I'm gonna close it off for now. Ah. I wonder what happens with the X. I ended up killing the X. You know what? That might actually have been the point. Well, there's ways to enable and disable the narrative. I assume that actually means that it makes the game goes done sooner. Soundtrack and a mysterious third ending can be found here. Ah. Alright, well, I'm gonna have to check that out at some point. Well, I actually found this game to be completely amusing, probably for all the wrong reasons, but oh well, might as well go for it. Innovation. Yeah, believe it or not, this kind of goes a little high on my list. It's not something typical where you try to see an action sequence in the middle of a typing game all at the same time. I find that part fascinating, to be completely honest. Most typing games are like you type the words that are appearing below the zombie kind of silliness, but I kind of like that. It's not really all that fun per se, but I didn't really, I don't think that was kind of the point of this. The theme where you are the monster, I actually like this interpretation. Basically, you're an X staring at X staring at a relationship of the two other characters that you're somehow spying on really creepily. So that's pretty cool, I thought. The graphics was kind of bad, but that's alright. The audio was hilariously bad. That's also alright. I thought that was hilarious. That's just me. the robot voices just takes away all the seriousness from the game. And maybe that was kind of the point. I don't think the gameplay did a good job of fitting with the gravity of the situation. But then again, I'm kind of debating whether it was supposed to be all that silly or not. I don't know. That might actually kind of give me a 3-point star there. I thought this was a solid entry, to be completely honest, overall. It's just... oh my goodness. It's just so not ridiculous, so silly in its presentation that, I mean, it's probably trying to let you know that it's really... envy is kind of one of those things where envy or jealousy, either way, is just one of those things that makes you, like, hurt others unintentionally. There's also the fact that, you know, what's being presented here is if you're an ex, you just broke up or something, it's right to kind of react violently, when in reality, like, that's a terrible attitude. And while, I mean, I guess the reason why people, you know, a lot of popular media do them anyways is because it's something that's easy to relate to, but there's really no reason for, you know, ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend to react harshly to you. It's totally possible to continue being friends as a consequence, even after the breakup. It's just that typically when you're breaking up, you want to make sure you pull a little distance between each other for a while, for some important reasons. But anyways, I do feel like it kind of gets that point across pretty well, in the sense that, you know, this whole scenario is the ex getting back at the previous relationship is not constructive in the slightest. It's just kind of... it's not good. It's not really good to express anger in general like that. I don't know. But yeah, I did see it kind of like a metaphor to that effect. I actually acknowledge the random shooting. It's not really random so much as it's hard to tell, but it is basically timing based on the angle that you actually shoot. But what I do appreciate from that is that it actually kind of goes really well with the whole theme of it's not a good idea to express violence or anger in any circumstances regardless. And, you know, this case, you would end up killing your ex as a consequence. This case, I don't know why kill is the situation here, but you end up killing the ex as a consequence of doing so. So I actually kind of appreciate that. Hey, thought this was pretty cool. Those robot voices sure take away the gravity of the situation, making Dave's fireball attacks all the more silly. Thought it was a pretty interesting deconstruction of X's depicted in popular media. I certainly ended up killing the X not as intended. which felt like a deliberate design decision. I do think proper voice acting would drastically improve the deconstruction part. The typing was a little strange too. Not sure why. Well, either way, I kind of liked that for what it was. It was clearly not meant to be funny, but no, actually, arguably, maybe it was meant to be funny. I don't know. Now I'm torn. It could mean anything. It could mean anything. Oh no. The dilemma. Anyways, so the next one